It is always a busy time inside Raid Shadow Legends, as I'm sure all of you guys know, especially if you're a free-to-play or a low-spend player, certainly. But sometimes it's nice to just chillax and go through your champion roster and take a look and rate some champions and figure out, hey, these are champions I'm actually using on my account. These are champions I don't really use. Or from a content creator perspective, just giving you guys information about who I think is good, where they're good, and all those sorts of amazing things. So that's what we're doing today, is kind of a part 2 to rating some of my most used champions on my account. If you missed part 1, it went live probably about 1 to 2 weeks before this video did, so definitely make sure to go check that out first. But we're essentially just going to be going through the roster today and applying some ratings to some champions. And I figured the most fitting place to start is going to be with Fabian, Lord Entertainer Fabian, who I'm actually recording a guide for right after I record this video, although that guide might go live before this video. So it's a weird kind of like multiverse thing going on here as always. But let's go ahead. Let's do some ratings for this guy. So he's going to be a 5 easily in offense. Just a quick look at his kit. He's a lockout champion, buff stripper, placing true fear, petrification, all those sorts of nasty, nasty things. He's going to be a 5. I would argue that he's actually now stronger than Armanz, and the reason being is Armanz gets very much countered by, like, you know, Taurus and Marichka. Gets very much countered by Stone Skin, for example, right? Because Armanz, the only way he can remove buffs is on his A3. However, you know, Fabian doesn't really care about that so much, right? Because he has a chance to remove that Stone Skin on his A3, but then he also just has straight up a chance to lock you out as well, which is insane. So, campaign locations, he's fantastic. Spirit Keep, he's fantastic. Void Keep, he's fantastic. As I always say, he's probably going to be great in all of the keeps because the keeps are some of the easiest content in the entire game. Going back to that multiverse, I'm actually recording a video about the keeps after this as well. So we're going to give him like a 4 in Ice Golems because he is good, but he's not really, you know, a specialist for it kind of thing. Force Keep, again, a 5. Dragon's Lair, he's bringing fears and petrifications, which would be control for the waves. We're not really worried about locking out the boss or anything like that, though, so I think we're going to give him a 4. Hydra, I see he's rated at 2. I think that's very accurate because you can't... Actually, it's going to be lower. You can't steal Term Meter from the Hydra. You can't place True Fear or Petrification on them. You can't really buff strip them in most cases if it's a protected buff or whatnot. And if you have buffs of yours getting onto the Hydra head, you're doing something wrong anyways. And you can't increase their cooldown. So everything he does is just not really useful there. Spiders, he's probably going to get a 3. I think that's pretty accurate. Demon Lord, I'm actually going to give him a 1. I don't think he's really useful in Demon Lord at all. Same thing with Chimera. He doesn't really bring anything there. Minotaur, whatever. Fire Knight, honestly, maybe like a 2, because he does have some Term Meter steal, and he's a multi-hit A1, so if you really need to, you can do that. Sand Devil, it's whatever. Magic Keep, he is weak affinity against it, right? But I'm still going to give him a 3. You know what, maybe a 4, because even though he is weak affinity, still having the chance of that lockout, petrification, true fear, all that sort of stuff is so strong. Phantom Shogun and Iron Twins, we're not really too worried about him. So he is absolutely fantastic in terms of champions inside the game. Looks very cool as well. He actually has his lore. Now, I'm a big fan of the lore being added to the game. I don't really care about it personally, but I know there's a lot of people that go crazy about it. And in champion collection games like this, it's essentially just nice to be able to see, like, you know, who you're collecting, who you're building, a bit of their backstory and whatnot. That being said as well, in terms of lore, I do have a Discord that's always linked down in the description there, so certainly feel free to go ahead and hop in if you would like to. We have a fantastic community. It's growing all the time. We got people sharing builds and tips and tricks and strategies and all that sort of good stuff, so make sure to get in on it, and I actually have some giveaways coming up later this month as well. We're going to be talking about Phoenix next. So Phoenix, if you're unfamiliar, has one of the hardest hitting skills in the entire game if the conditions are met. So he attacks one enemy on the A1, places an extra hit if the target has any debuffs. Enemies killed by this skill cannot be revived. This is a ridiculous A1 because it's, I think, a 6.1 multiplier on the A1, which means that if a double hit is procced, he's getting a 12 times damage multiplier. And a guy that has almost 1500 base attack, that is insane. Insane. So let's go ahead. Let's rate him. Ice Golem's peak, he's going to be a 5 without question because He can place, block, revive on the ads. Arena offense, I'm seeing him even sometimes inside Gold 4 live arena where I'm at currently. Faction Wars, easy 5. Hydra, he's actually going to be a 5 as well because of his double hit abilities, right? You have debuffs going out on the Hydra. Chimera, easy 5 as well in my opinion. Arena defense, he's going to be a 4 because the issue is that you can easily counter him. So, you know, you can kind of bring in like a UDK or, you know, affinities that he's weak to, that sort of thing. A defense is definitely harder for champions to get a 5 rating. Demon Lord, I'm actually going to be a little bit controversial here and give him a 3. He is a hard hitter, but generally for Demon Lord, you need a bit more than that. Force Keep, he's fantastic. He's a proper affinity. Minotaurs, he can easily do. Campaign locations, he's got some AoE capabilities in there. Void Keep, same thing. The keeps, it's very hard to be not a 5, so we're going to give him 4 in Fire Knight's Castle. He doesn't really have too much for like turn meter steal, but he does bring a decreased defense, which is, and a decreased speed, I believe, which is very strong. Dragon's Lair, easy 5. Iron Twins, we're going to give him probably a 4 because he can hit hard. Spider's Den, not really all that useful to be honest, just because you can't really block the spiders from being brought in. He could be used for like Nether Spider or something like that, of course, right? But we don't have a rating for that. Sand Devils, I'm going to give him a 5. He could definitely be your damage dealer there. Phantom Shogun, also going to give him a 5 to be honest. And in Magic Keep, a 3 because he is weak to Magic Keep, unfortunately. So it is pretty cool to see how these ratings have progressed since they reset them, so champions that are good versus champions that are not. Do I have ratings for Lammasu? I do not. Lammasu is quickly becoming one of, if not my favorite champions inside the entire game of Raid Shadow Legends. She is absolutely fantastic in my opinion. It's pretty much her that has allowed me to one-key both Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare of Chimera, and I'll have a video coming out on that at some point. This is a build I have on her if you're curious. Hydra, easy 5. Chimera, easy 5. I have a guide on her specifically as well, so if you're not too familiar with what she does, make sure you go check that out. Arena offense, easy 5. Faction Wars, 5. Faction Arena defense, honestly, still a 5. Campaign locations, she's going to be a 4. Iron Twins Fortress, easy 5. Phantom Shogun, 5. Void Keep, 5. Force Keep, 5. Are you seeing a theme here? Dragons, 5. Demon Lord, 5. Magic Keep and Spirit Keep, both going to be a 5. Spider's Den, absolutely a 5. Sand Devils, a 5. Ice Golem's Peak, a 5. Fire Knight's Castle, still a 5. And Minotaur's also a 5. She's a 5 literally everywhere inside the game. There's no question about it. Literally everywhere, in my opinion. And what does she do? Well, she has an AoE decrease attack. Incredibly strong. She has an AoE block buffs and True Fear. If it's a boss, it's an AoE 75, or sorry, rather a block buffs and a decreased speed, which is exactly what you want, right? Incredibly useful everywhere. And then she has a complete cleanse, 2 intercept stacks, and fully resets the cooldown of all their skills on a target ally whenever you need it, right? Not to mention she also can't be sheeped. She's decreasing the enemy target's resistance and turn meter every time she hits them. She is fantastic, and she brings the speed in all battles by 24%. This is one of the best champions inside the entire game, certainly at a legendary level, and she is massively underrated in my opinion because you have a lot of content creators, and I have her built out in War Master for Chimera, it's whatever, but you have a lot of content creators who, you know, spend tens of thousands of dollars on the game, so she kind of pales in comparison to some of the +4 mythicals that are on their teams. But for the everyday player, the low spenders such as myself, certainly the free-to-play players who are going to get her, she is so incredibly powerful. She is such a good champion. And getting her for free through Siege is just absolutely sensational. Lydia, I don't have ratings for, but Lydia is going to be a 5 inside Chimera. Hydra, also easily a 5. Faction Wars, 5. Arena offense, 100% a 5. Dragon's Lair, same thing. Arena defense, I'm going to give her a 3. Just because, realistically speaking, again, it's very easy to counter certain champions on defense, and her especially. She does have very solid base stats, though, for like tankiness and whatnot. Spider's Den, Demon Lord, Ice Golem's Peak, all a 5. Campaign, same thing. Campaign I'll actually do to a 4 because she can't really solo it or anything like that. Ice Golem, she's obviously very good because she can block the revives of the ads. What is a Sand Devils? She's going to be a 5. Phantom Shogun, also a 5. Force Keep, all the keeps, as always, she's probably going to be a 5. She is a Void Affinity champion too, which means that she's not going to be worrying about that. Iron Twins, absolutely a 5. Fire Knight's Castle, On the other hand, I think she's going to be a 4 just because she doesn't bring a whole lot of turn meter reduction or multi-hits or anything like that. So she's not too incredible. We have Newt. Might as well go ahead and rate him. We got Fire Knight's Castle and Spiders and Chimera, obviously a 5. Hydra, also a 5, 100%. Sand Devil's also a 5. Demon Lord, honestly, probably also a 5. He'll really help you out there. Faction Wars, easy 5. I use him all the time. Iron Twins, absolutely a 5. Same thing with Dragon's Lair. Same thing with Phantom Shogun. Minotaur. Force Keep, again, you know, the keeps, it's whatever. However, inside Ice Golem, I'm going to give him a 4, because you do have to be careful with his max HP abilities, right? Because he can trigger the comebacks. Arena offense, kind of a 1, honestly. Void Keep. Arena defense, also a 1. Campaign locations, a 4. And Magic Keep, a 5. He's not an arena champion, so I'm surprised to see that his arena ratings are this high, to be honest, because he is not an arena fellow, right? Like, it's not somewhere you want to use him. I don't have ratings submitted for Arbiter either, so let's go ahead and let's do some ratings for the Arbiter here. So, Arena offense and defense, both a 5. Faction Wars, 5. She helps to carry. Hydra, absolute 5. She can really enable something like, for example, a Trunda team or those sorts of crazy things. Campaign locations, she's probably going to be like a 3. You're really only using her for the revive, but obviously late game, not so much, right? Dragon's Lair, probably a 4, to be honest. I gotta crack my neck real quick. Chimera, also a 4. Minotaur, I'm going to give her a 3. Demon Lord, a 1. She doesn't really do anything you need in a Demon Lord. Acceptable in Fire Knights. She's going to be acceptable inside Spiders. I think she's decent for Ice Golem, but I don't think she's incredibly good. Void Keep, she's going to be good. Iron Twins, she's kind of just not really doing anything you need, to be honest. Spirit Keep, good. Force Keep, she's good. Magic Keep, also good. Phantom Shogun, she's going to be like a 3. Sand Devils, I think she's going to be a 1, just because you don't really use her too much inside Sand Devil, unless you have like a weird team composition that's using like a Siphi and an Arbiter, but, you know, it is what it is. She's one of the champions inside the game that has like the most skins, though, and the skins for her actually look pretty badass as well, so that's pretty cool, and she does have lore, of course, as you'd expect. I think I have ratings for Freya. Not yet, apparently, actually. Okay, so let's go ahead and start rating my girl Freya, then, who is also one of my favorite champions in the game. I have a lot of favorite champions. Everywhere so far, a 5. Chimera, she's going to be a... Let's see. Chimera, she's bringing block debuff. She's bringing a cleanse, a turn meter fill, increased defense, shield, and an provoke on the A1. She's going to be a 5. She doesn't really provoke, obviously. She can be a 5 for campaign, 5 for dragon, 5 for Ice Golem. Freya is so damn good. She was a guaranteed champion, right? But the AoE A1 that can do some damage, as well as her defense increasing passive, as well as her protection and instant turn abilities, just make her so strong. Fire Knight's Castle, she's definitely a little bit lower because she doesn't really do any sort of turn meter reduction or anything like that. And in fact, I will change my rating to be just acceptable. She's not really a Fire Knight champion, but everywhere else inside the game, she's so good. I went for her on the guaranteed event, and I definitely do not regret it. She looks good. She plays good. Everything about her is fantastic. She is a sensational champion, people. Sensational. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at Leorius. Leorius is a bit more of a meh champion, to be honest. I did an entire dedicated review on Leorius at some point, and you can feel free to go check that out if you want. I was thoroughly disappointed. So for arena offense, he's probably going to be a 4. Defense, I'm going to give him a 3. Faction Wars, a 4. Campaign locations, he's going to get a 5. Minotaur is a 5. Void Keep, a 5. Hydra, a 4. Everybody's kind of unanimous on that, it looks like. Force Keep. The keeps, he's going to be pretty good. He can still do good damage. Spider, I think he's going to be like maybe a 4. Spirit Keep, easy 5. Fire Knight's Castle, he's getting a 1. He doesn't really do anything that you need for Fire Knight. Dragon's Lair, a 4. Ice Golem, probably like a 3 in my opinion. Demon Lord, he's getting a 1. Once again, not really anything you need there. Chimera, he's useless. Iron Twins, he's useless. Sand Devils, he's useless. And Phantom Shogun, he's useless. There's better options for all of those pieces of content, even at a epic level. And it's so disappointing, too, because I got him, and he was one of my most wanted champs for such a long time. And I know he hits hard. I couldn't make it happen. And I'm going to be doing maybe another video on him at some point. I do have to do a video on Harima as well, who is... I say this a lot, apparently. Here's a new drinking game for everybody. Take a shot every time I say somebody's one of my favorite champions, and I am not responsible if you end up in the hospital, but Harima is one of my favorite champions inside the game as well. She's so incredibly good, and there was some discussion in my Discord recently that she's not that good of a champion. You know who you are, but we set you straight. Harima is fantastic. Speaking of which, I do have reviews put out for her, so that's how she is. The latest Harima video I did was like a year ago, and it's a little bit outdated by now, certainly, so I might do another video on her at some point, but she is such an incredibly strong champion. That being said, you've listened to me ramble on for, champion reviews and, my favorite champions for the last 15 minutes, so I think this is probably a good place to end the video. Once again, Discord link down in the description below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time.